Very good evening to you, esteemed viewer. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much for choosing Church of Uganda Family TV. This is Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. And of course, every Thursday we talk about leadership and governance. Here we are to talk about what we need to learn, especially as we tread on the road of leadership. Today, we are looking at leadership strategies for both personal and professional growth. Very, very important. While we put in a lot of efforts in personal growth, it is also important to mind about the professional growth as a leader. And of course, the entire team is here, and we welcome you for the show. Adrian Austin is my name, and with us in studio, we recognize visitors first. We have someone who has come also on board on this panel, and she's none other than Hilda Taliba Balikwas. Of course, she is a manager research and advisory services in the Directorate of Legal Affairs, Inspectorate of Government. It's a pleasure having you this evening.
Thank you, Edwin. Good evening, viewers.
We are excited to tap into your expertise. And of course, on the extreme left, we have Dana. It's a pleasure having you this evening.
It is. It's good to be here. It's always a pleasure to be here. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, Adrian, and welcome to this panel. I think it's an amazing time, especially as we draw close to the end of the year. It's good to sit and just discuss bits of the year. I'm hoping we'll do a segment that sort of has a roundup of the year.
Yeah, we should. That will be the last one. as we nail it down. But of course, we are glad that both of you are here, and we are excited, especially as we talk about our strategies for personal and professional growth. Maybe to start with Hilda, as she shares with us her leadership journey, just briefly, to give us a foundation to start with.
Thank you, Edwin. As I've been introduced before, I work with the Inspectorate of Government. I started off in 2002 as an inspectorate officer. That is the lowest level for the technical staff. And I went through the ranks to senior inspectorate officer, principal, and right now I'm at the level of manager research and advisory services. And at each of these stages, I've had the opportunity to lead others. Even at the lowest level, I've had the opportunity to lead others, and so perhaps they saw some potential in me. Briefly, that has been my leadership journey, but as you know, I've also attended a Global Leadership Summit, and I learned one fundamental thing, that everyone is a leader in their sphere of influence. So leadership is not really just about holding titles and positions, it's really about the influence that you push in your area of in your space, wherever you are, whether as a parent, as a sibling, as a friend, as a team member. It's not really about positions. So in each of these levels, I have got several leadership positions that I may or may not share if time allows. So that has been my journey briefly.
That is an amazing one, and we are going to learn a lot from that journey that you've just summarized. But of course, then there is something that leaders, starting from the professional part, there's something that leaders really don't want, which is actually very key in growth. That is a negative feedback and criticism. And no leader would really want to be criticized, or no leader would really want to sit there and the feedback they get is really negative. But as a leader, how do you handle negative feedback and criticism?
I think your question is targeting what our discussion prior to coming on air, and it's unfair that you have tagged in our discussion, and I can't even explain. I don't think it's really about leadership of fearing, critiquing, or going through a time of evaluation. Every individual has a problem with it. I have a problem with it. I used to think I didn't until I had a friend who I thought was a friend evaluate me at that level. I didn't speak to the person after. I was very displeased with their feedback. So I was at a workplace and I had one direct supervisor, but they were different. They were at the same level with the person that was supervising me, and so I knew that my direct supervisor was uncomfortable with my personality, being very strong, being very outgoing, and for them, it seemed to them like it was a competition. And so when they gave I didn't think they understood how to do an evaluation, and when they did, I felt it was absolutely unfair. And it was, in my view, unfair. And so I said to myself, no. So I asked the peer who was a friend to me to do that evaluation. I didn't speak to them after that. I thought they left no stone unturned, but I also thought they did it very poorly. And later on, of course, using the friendship, they tried to talk to me after. But I think that as you go through life at every area of every position you'll ever hold, you're going to go through critiquing, you're going to go through evaluation. The first level is evaluation, which each of us will get as long as we're in a workspace, as long as we have an organization that we're running. Maybe if it's an institution, it's something I introduced in my ministry team at church. I tell them we have KPIs at the beginning of year, and there will be measurements at the end of the year. Trust me, nobody takes it well. And so what I do is try to tell everyone, especially at the ministry level, that these results don't belong to you, they belong to us as individuals. I'd rather us as a team. Because if you learn to view it in that aspect, then you're able to take feedback. And I do that, and I think that's an attitude that needs to be carried into teams, that when I am evaluating or critiquing the department head, that result also reflects on me. If I understand that, as long as it goes down the chain, the department head does that to the managers, does that down to the staff attorneys, down to the least of the least. When you learn to view it in such a way that this result is us, you're responsible for a particular part, I'm responsible for a particular part, but you failing on your part means I've failed. You failing in getting your KPIs means I have failed as a leader. And so many times leaders will come off with 80% while our juniors come on with 60%. That means there's a disconnect. Yes. There's a disconnect that we need to come back to. But back to your question, how does a leader handle criticism or being critiqued? One, take it. Now, whether you like it or not, it's going to come. Whatever position of leadership you hold, everyone is going to critique you. Nowadays, social media has made it so bad and worse, such that people are comfortable behind a keyboard typing very unnecessary things that they should not type, and they don't care that there's a human going to receive that on the other side. And I think that as a leader, one, you should learn to take it, but also know who you're taking it from. If you are a public leader, it means the public is going to critique you, but you're not going to care for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. One of the best pieces of advice I received from a mentor, when I wanted to stand for a position, I remember you in Ghana Law Society then, and a leader of an institution posted and said, "We pray out such people. These are not the kind of people we should expect." Wow. And as I looked at that, I remember sending it to somebody who was their boss before, and I expected them to side with me and to feel what I was feeling. And then they said back to me, on your journey of life, if you stop to respond to every barking dog, you will never reach. That taught me something. As long as you're on the journey of leadership or life, you will be critiqued left, right, and center. What do? You take it. But you also learn from who you can take it from. There will be barking dogs, but not everybody is going to speak into your life. And so allow those who have the mandate and have earned a place to speak into your life to speak, and listen to that feedback. For the other part that is just a wild wind and water, let it be water off a duck's back, but learn to deal with it. The second thing as a leader is to figure out which of this is useful, which of it is not. Because even people with their best intentions can give you information that is not useful. As you have an eye view as a leader that not many people have. Again, uneasy is the head that wears the crown. It is difficult to hold a leadership position. You get an automatic eye view that everybody does not. Only people who have walked that journey or who understand a bit of it will know and sympathize with you. They will empathize because they know what it means to walk that journey. And so in situations like that, don't judge your performance or what you have done by necessarily the feedback that you get. Sieve, learn from that hasn't gone well, go ahead with that has gone well. And I think lastly, as a leader, is also learn to take time for yourself. Every one of us is going to go through situations that will cause us to step back, think about our lives, wonder where we got it wrong. Because criticism comes, or critiquing will come when something has happened. Now, if it's momentous, or if it's a law that's coming at you, step back. As a leader, you need to step back, take time for yourself and introspect, because you are required to be self-aware as a leader. As you grow in leadership, self-awareness is not negotiable, and so stepping back will enable you evaluate but also heal. Because as individuals, everything that comes our way, trust me, it's like an arrow that gets into your heart, whether you care about it or not. And so what you need to do is to heal as a leader. Heal and allow. That can only happen when you take time, when you step away and find your way forward.
Okay. Thank you so much, then Hilda. Reflecting on your journey of leadership from about 2002 to the current leadership position, but also to borrow your statement that everyone is a leader in their sphere of influence. How have you, and how should a leader respond to criticism?
Thank you. I think Diana has put it well.
Okay.
But what I would like to add perhaps is that self, and she also mentioned that, reflection, self-reflection. Have that meeting in your mind, a meeting of one person. Reflect on yourself. Where can I improve? You see, the Bible says in Hosea 4:6, it says, my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. In some versions, lack of wisdom or lack of understanding. So as a leader, you must know yourself. Know yourself. What are you good at? How is your character? I think before others criticize you, critique yourself. I believe that you should critique yourself. By the time they say what they say, and she brought it well, do not let everybody speak into your life. You would know if someone is just talking out of malice, if someone is just talking for entertainment, or because they lack what else, they are idle and disorderly, as lawyers like to put it. You will not be moved by such comments. Yeah. But if someone is saying something that is important, that will build you, you will still know if you have that, what they call inflection. You reflect on yourself. You look at your character. What are you missing? What must you build on? Because character is the foundation of leadership. And as a person, you must already know, these are my strong points, these are my weaknesses. When you inflect, you get to know these problems and you start working towards them. And really, that is the essence of growth. As a leader, you must be interested in growing. They say change is, I think it's Maxwell. Change is inevitable. It happens to us all. But growth is optional. You have to choose to grow every other day. So criticism, those are some of the things that make us grow. However, if it's misplaced and irrelevant, you ignore. But when you inflect, you know that, oh, I need to look at my character here. Oh, I need some self-discipline here. You could be doing certain things. They say we usually don't see what we are doing wrong. But and then I think you're lucky enough to have a friend who can be bold enough to tell you that, oh, you're short here, and this is good and this is bad. And it's not easy. I think I usually tell my friends that I will get annoyed with you at first, but I like to inflict a lot. So I'll sit back and think about what you said, even if I was angry at first. But later I'll see what I can change, what I can improve, and that is when I'll know whether you are just being idle and disorderly or you are mentioning something. So you look as when you inflect, you look at your character. You look, do you have that self-discipline? Are there things that you need to build? Do you need a mentor? Do you need to talk to some people who have walked that journey? Like Diana was saying, talk to people who have walked that journey before, because sometimes we critique out of ignorance, but you must critique out from an informed point of view. You either you walk the journey or you know so much. But I realize now with social media, everyone is a consultant, everyone is an advisor, everyone is the critique is so much. So personally, that inflection, self-reflection helps a lot, and it helps you to work on yourself. So by the time that critique comes, sometimes you already know. Sometimes you don't know, sometimes you know, but you know what to do about it, whether to receive it or ignore. Yes.
Okay. Now we want to talk about the work-life relationship. Sometimes people work out themselves and they forget about the other life that we're talking about. Then I talked about self-care, and still, Hilda, I want you to tell us about the importance of self-care and stress management in personal and professional growth.
Thank you very much. Okay, I didn't introduce this, but I'm married. I have 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. And so you know that is also another office. I said leadership is about, yes, all your areas of influence, the spheres, your spaces. So I know that space is also important. And I've also come to learn through life that once one space is not comfortable, the other place won't work. Once you're having issues at home, and as a leader, I've learned that when you're dealing with team members, you need to be empathetic. You need to understand people. You need to also be cognizant of their other life. So that work-life balance is sometimes hard to manage, but as leaders, we need to help our team members to have that balance, because if someone is having issues at home and you're also pushing them to the brink at work, you'll not get anything out of them. But if you're empathetic, you give a listening ear. If you can help, you help. If you can give a word of advice, and yes, so that work-life balance is very important. Personally, family is important. I would say family comes first. I know that I get my bread from office, but I'm lucky to have leaders who are also understanding. And I've also been lucky to be on the committee that has been reviewing the human resource manual of the Inspector of Government. I think this is the second time we are doing it, and some of the things we address are those ones. You know, there are things that happen to us in life: sickness, death. You know, salary should be comfortable, the health insurance. If an employer or a leader, for that matter, does not cover those things, then there will be a problem. So as leaders, we need to help our team members to manage that work-life balance. As a Christian, family is important for me. I make sure that I've covered that base in whichever way I can, but I also make sure that I make sure that my team members are comfortable when they need to be. And of course, officially through the Human Resource Manual, there are things that we provide to make sure that the staff is comfortable.
Okay.
Yes.
starting from there, making sure that the staff is comfortable. At what point then do you, as a leader, evaluate and say, now I think my staff is now comfortable, they are happy, they are enjoying the work environment?
I think it's the most obvious if people are willing to come to work without much hassle. When people love what they do, and you can see it in their faces, you can see it as they come. When people love what they do, they'll come to work. And so it's a comfortable space for them to always come to work. You can see it in how they coordinate with one another. It's not a toxic environment. People are talking, they are free to talk. They're even free to talk to you as a boss, rather as a leader. Throw a joke your way and know that they'll get a laugh out of you. They're comfortable enough to have that banter with you, which is good. The other aspects, you will see people are more productive. They're very productive in how they produce their output. They're able to find ways forward, become creative in what they do. Creativity is fostered in environments like that, and so creativity there will be a boost in creativity as people are comfortable in work. They'll figure out new ways. If something is boring, no one's going to come to the boss. They're going to find a way that's creative that will make it fun for people around. And then the biggest is always that there'll be an addition to your team. That growth is not just in productivity, but there's always an addition to your team. People are joining because they think well about it. Your turnover is not as high as somebody whose turnover is 1 year, 6 months, even 3 years is a very high turnover. Every 3 years you're training people. It takes 3 years to get people to that level, and then at the 3-year mark you are losing them. So that level of comfort will be shown by how you are able to retain people in the workspace, and how people speak about you in your absence on social media to people who are joining. I mean, we have left workplaces and people call us and ask us about that workplace, and people say things about that workplace and say, I don't think it would be a good fit for you. And so all those things, I think, are just an interplay to show that people are either comfortable with the workspace, or that there's been an atmosphere and a safe environment created for them to grow.
We now have a category of people who we call workaholics. Work, and work. The only thing they think about is work. Yet, there is the other life of meditation that you need as a person to renew your energy, but also to evaluate yourself. And they never get that time. Probably they think it's not necessary. What is necessary is their output at work. As long as they come, they put on that computer and they do all their assignments. I mean, we've seen people who come very early in the morning in office and they leave late. They're the last people to leave, and they'll be the first person, the first people the following day. But how should someone prioritize self-care? Sorry, how should someone prioritize and maintain a work-life balance?
Siri. One, make the choice for yourself how you schedule. No one's going to make a choice for you. So make the choice for yourself how you schedule yourself. Now, I've had people say, in this phase of my life, it's not possible. And it's understandable. In that phase of their life, it's not possible. But I like that the fact that you used phase, because it's going to come and it's going to stop. You can't ask a breastfeeding mother to abandon her child for 2 days. It's madness. Both the child and the mother are going to suffer. Both of them will suffer, because the mother needs by nature to give milk, the child needs by nature to feed. So they are codependent at that level. You reach a stage in life where things are codependent, they're dependent on you. And so you have to understand that phase, master it, and allow that phase to go. Allow that phase to disappear and let it go. The other thing that when you understand that phase in life is to know when it starts and when it stops. It's easy to get addicted. Now, people who are workaholics don't know when to stop. They don't know when to pull back. They need to keep going. They're like that horse that keeps running, and yet they need to pull back. And that means that you have to be self-aware, or have people who are within your networks to pull you back and say, enough is enough. It's important that you have those people who are around you who can tell you you're breaking down. From the signs that you're giving, you have a stress headache constantly. You are shouting at us now. You are not considering yourself. And so it's good for you to step back in that moment and allow yourself to rest. Having those people planted in your life will enable you be a better will make you be a better person. Meditation is something that I have tried to do this year, not the yoga one, but you know, when you stop after sort of, for me, it's a morning hour, after probably an hour of prayer and etc., is to try and stop for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a long time for me because my mind is resting, all the things I need to do, all the things that are happening. Most of us have active minds. It's rare to find somebody whose mind can be silent. And that's why you have to respect monks and people who do those things, because it's quite a level of discipline you have to get to stop yourself. But I found the benefit in it in the sense that I am refilled by the Spirit of God in that moment. I have found that it is good for us to step away for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe a day. Maybe my plan at the beginning of the year was 15 minutes a week. So I only found that plan when I was reviewing my plans for the end of the year. I said, oh, it was a plan at the beginning of the year. So I found it recently and I said, let's try, so that by the time I'm marking myself at the end of the year, it's not 0%, it can be 30%. So it's good for you to step away as an individual, to learn, to refill. It's important that you do. And as a leader that wants to grow, you have to master it for yourself and then teach it to those that are below you. Why? Because you'll always hit stress levels. Everyone will hit their stress limit. Our stress limits differ depending on our capacity to take what is happening. And so when you are nearing that age, it's good for you to step back, have that time of meditation, and allow yourself. And again, you need to find an expression that removes stress from you. And those expressions vary. You can like spas. I like spas. You know, the idea to just go and have a massage, have a facial, have your life just stop for a while alone without people. So that you have time to relax. And when you're there, you find out there are knots in your back, there are knots in your neck, and they're telling you there's stress here, you're not sleeping well. That's a good therapeutic thing for you to find out in that moment. And so you have to give yourself those times. Some people, it's taking a walk. So take a walk if you need to take a walk. Some people it's jogging. I don't know why. Only the guilty run without being chased. But some people it's taking a jog. Other people it's a walk. Yeah, I have to psych myself up to walk. I have to talk to myself when I have to walk. But there are things that you can do that can help you.
Okay. You know, I remembered someone who they told us before we came here that they were given off days. I think they were given 6 days, and then after the second day,
they came back to work.
He called and said, "Can I please come?"
No.
Wow.
Aaron is running away from home.
Running away from other things.
I think he was missing work.
No, he was running away from home.
He was missing.
No, let me tell you, there's nobody who is so addicted to a workplace that you feel that your life can't be separated. That means there is a condition you need to deal with.
Yeah.
And you need to deal with it very fast. Because each of us as human beings needs a downtime. We need and the older you get, you realize that you really need the downtime. So they used to beat you to sleep as a child. You will love to sleep as an adult.
Yeah.
The power nap works. You can sit in your car before a meeting and you will black out. Wake up after 15 minutes and say that was a good nap. But they beat you as a child to go through it. So each of us needs to be able to step away.
Okay. Hilda, you wanted to add on something.
She has said so many beautiful things. But we need that wholesomeness. You cannot, you know, being addicted to work would be as being addicted to alcohol or any other thing. You need to have a wholesome life. You need to have life outside work.
Yes.
Those are the people, if for instance they threw them out of that job, they would run mad. They would feel life has come to an end. It's often said that people die a few years after retirement, because they don't have a life outside office.
Yeah.
So I think she put it well. You need to have life outside office.
Well, thank you so much. And at this point, we are going to take a short commercial break. When we return, we are going to start from there. Remember, we are looking at strategies for personal and professional growth, which is something that is really very, very important. Stay with us as we come back.